All right, let's dive into something really interesting today. We're going to be looking at urban beekeeping kits as a business idea. It's funny. When I first saw this, I thought, really? Beekeeping in the city?
Well, that's what makes it so intriguing, kind of challenges those assumptions about what's possible in an urban environment.
Yeah, and our source material lays out a pretty compelling case for it. It's more than just a business, it's like a whole movement towards sustainable living and food security,
Absolutely.
which I think is really cool.
Kind of forces you to think about where your food comes from, right? I mean, we rely on bees for so much of what we eat. Over 70% of the crops we depend on are pollinated by bees.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing when you think about it that way. And with bee populations declining all over the world, it feels like this is something we need to pay attention to.
It's a global issue, no doubt.
Right.
Habitat loss, pesticides, climate change, it's all taking a toll on bee populations.
So, urban beekeeping, I mean, could this be a viable solution?
Well, the research suggests that urban areas could actually be havens for bees. They may even be more genetically diverse than their rural counterparts in some cases.
Wow, really? That's surprising.
Yeah, and the diversity is crucial for their resilience. So creating safe spaces for them in cities, it could have a ripple effect on bee health overall.
Okay, so we're helping the bees, but what about the business side of this? Who are we actually selling these urban beekeeping kits to?
Right, so we've got to figure out who our target audience is. The source material breaks it down into four main groups.
Okay, let's hear it.
First off, you've got your eco-conscious city dwellers. The folks who are really into sustainable living, reducing their carbon footprint, all that.
Yeah, they're looking for ways to make a difference, right?
Exactly, and this caps right into that desire for impactful action.
They want to feel like they're actually contributing to a solution.
Then you've got your garden enthusiasts.
Hmm.
They already have that connection to nature, and a beehive just seems like a natural extension of that.
It's like bringing a little piece of the countryside into the city.
Exactly. Imagine a rooftop garden buzzing with activity, producing fresh honey.
It's almost like a little ecosystem right there in the heart of the urban jungle.
And speaking of honey, let's not forget about the foodies. They're always on the lookout for unique, locally sourced ingredients.
Home harvested honey definitely has that artisanal appeal, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and you can play up the different flavor profiles that come from urban bees foraging on all sorts of city plants.
That's such a cool idea. So you're not just getting honey, you're getting a taste of your neighborhood.
And finally, you've got families with kids. Urban beekeeping can be a really fun and educational activity for the whole family.
Yeah, it's a great way to teach kids about science, nature, responsibility. Okay, so we've got a pretty diverse group of potential customers here. But how do we turn this into a viable business? What are the practical steps involved in actually making this work?
That's where it gets really interesting. The source material lays out some pretty specific strategies for success. It all starts with the kits themselves. They need to be comprehensive, idiot-proof, you know.
So, like everything you need to get started, all in one package.
Exactly. A specially designed hive, maybe for a small space like a balcony. All the tools, protective gear, even maybe some pre-mixed sugar syrup to help the bees get going.
Wow. It's like you've really thought this through.
Well, the idea is to make urban beekeeping as accessible as possible, even for someone who's never even seen a beehive up close before.
But wouldn't people still need some guidance? I mean, beekeeping seems pretty complex, even in an urban setting.
That's where education comes in. The source emphasizes providing comprehensive resources to support new beekeepers.
Like what? What kind of resources are we talking about?
Videos, ebooks, webinars, maybe even online forums where people can connect with each other and share their experiences.
So you're building a community around urban beekeeping. I like that.
Exactly. It's a way to foster engagement, build customer loyalty.
And make sure people are successful with their beekeeping adventures.
And to take it a step further, the source suggests subscription services. Ongoing support, monthly deliveries of fresh wax sheets, hive upgrades, seasonal care tips, that kind of thing.
It's like a concierge service for urban beekeepers. That's a fantastic idea.
It ensures recurring revenue for your business and keeps those customers coming back for more.
Okay, so we've got the kits, the education, the ongoing support. But how do we reach those customers in the first place? How do we get the word out about our amazing urban beekeeping kits and everything we offer?
Marketing, my friend, marketing. The source suggests utilizing SEO to make sure your website pops up when people search for things like urban beekeeping kits or beekeeping for beginners.
Okay, so someone's searching for information about beekeeping, they find our website. But how do we really grab their attention? How do we make them excited about this?
That's where the power of visuals comes in. Social media, especially platforms like Instagram, can be incredibly effective.
You're thinking lots of pictures of happy bees and golden honey, right?
Exactly, showcasing the beauty and the bounty of urban beekeeping.
And maybe some behind-the-scenes shots of these hives thriving in unexpected places, rooftops, balconies.
It's about painting a picture of the urban beekeeping lifestyle, showing people how accessible and rewarding it can be.
And to really amplify our reach, we could even look into influencer marketing, partnering with urban gardening gurus or sustainability bloggers who already have a following in our target audience.
Absolutely. They can help spread the word about our kits and the importance of supporting bees.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got a sense of the why behind urban beekeeping. We've identified our target customers, and we've even sketched out a basic business plan. But I'm thinking about the practicalities, the regulations, the logistics, the potential challenges.
You're right, we've got to dig deeper into those aspects to really assess the viability of this venture.
And that's exactly what we're going to do next time. So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive. We're going to explore the nitty-gritty of setting up and running an urban beekeeping business, including the legal side of things, sourcing bees, and addressing potential concerns from the community.
And we'll even be talking to an actual urban beekeeper who can give us the insider perspective on what it's really like to tend to those buzzing buddies in the heart of the city. So, you won't want to miss it.
See you next time, deep divers. Okay, so picking up where we left off, we talked about all the amazing potential of urban beekeeping kits. But I have to admit, I'm still a little bit skeptical. Like, are people really going to be comfortable with beehives popping up all over their city?
Yeah, I think that's a natural reaction. Not everyone is going to be thrilled about the idea of more bees buzzing around.
Especially in those densely populated areas.
Exactly. So it's crucial to address those concerns head on and to educate the public about the importance of bees, their role in the ecosystem.
So more than just handing out pamphlets that say, don't worry, they won't sting.
Right. It's about highlighting the fact that urban beekeeping is a highly regulated activity.
Wait, really? There are rules and regulations around this.
Oh, absolutely. There are permits, inspections, guidelines for hive placement.
So you can't just stick a beehive anywhere you want.
Nope, not at all. All these measures are in place to minimize any risks and ensure the well-being of both the bees and the community.
Okay, that makes sense. So any potential entrepreneur would need to be aware of all these regulations, right?
Absolutely. Thorough research is key.
It's not something you can just wing.
Nope. Every city, every municipality is going to have its own set of ordinances governing beekeeping.
So connect with local authorities, maybe even consult with a lawyer specializing in this area.
Exactly. You want to make sure your business is operating above board and in full compliance with the law.
Okay, so we've got our permits, we understand the regulations, but what about the bees themselves? Where do you even source bees for an urban environment?
Well, you might be surprised to learn that there's a whole industry built around providing bees for urban beekeeping.
Really?
Yep, there are breeders who specialize in raising gentle, urban-adapted bees.
Urban-adapted bees, is that a thing?
It's not a separate species or anything, but certain strains of honeybees are better suited to city life.
Okay, so how are they different?
They tend to be less aggressive, less prone to swarming,
Makes sense.
and more adept at foraging in a diverse urban landscape.
Where food sources might be a little bit more scattered?
Exactly.
So you're saying I can't just pick any random bee off a flower?
Probably not the best strategy.
Okay, so we've got our bees, our permits, we've done our research. What's the next step? How do we actually get these kits into the hands of all those eager urban beekeepers?
We touched upon SEO and social media marketing earlier,
Right.
but don't underestimate the power of good old-fashioned networking.
So get out there and spread the word.
Exactly. Attend farmers markets, community events, maybe give a talk at a local gardening club.
It's all about making those connections, right?
It's about building relationships, establishing yourself as a trusted source of information and expertise in your community.
And maybe offering some free honey samples.
Oh yeah, nothing like a taste of fresh local honey to sweeten the deal.
It strikes me that this business is about so much more than just selling kits. It's about fostering a connection between people and nature, right in the heart of the city.
Absolutely.
It's about reclaiming some of that lost connection.
Reminding people that nature exists even in the most urban of environments.
I love that. It's a beautiful vision.
It is, but let's be real for a second. Starting any business is tough.
There are going to be challenges, setbacks, moments where you want to throw in the towel.
It comes down to passion, If you're truly passionate about this idea, about the mission of supporting bees and promoting sustainable living, that passion will fuel you through the tough times.
So believe in what you're doing.
100%.
And remember, you're not alone in this.
There's a whole community of urban beekeepers out there ready to support you, share their knowledge, and celebrate your successes.
That's really encouraging to hear. But okay, let's get back to the practicalities of beekeeping itself for a minute. How much work is it really to maintain an urban beehive? Do you need to be out there every day, checking on the bees, wearing that whole protective suit?
That's a great question. And to answer that, we've got someone very special joining us today, an actual urban beekeeper who can give us the inside scoop on what it's really like to tend to those buzzing buddies in the heart of the city.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into urban beekeeping kits. We've talked about the business side of things, the logistics, but now we wanted to bring in someone who's actually living that urban beekeeping life.
Exactly. Get a firsthand perspective. So we're joined today by an experienced urban beekeeper who can share some insights with us.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, how did you first get into urban beekeeping?
I've always loved nature. I had this small balcony garden in my city apartment. And I started to notice, fewer and fewer bees visiting my plants. And it really got me thinking about the importance of pollinators and the challenges they face, especially in urban environments.
So you saw a problem and decided to be part of the solution.
Exactly. I did some research and discovered this whole world of urban beekeeping.
And what appealed to you about it?
Well, it just seemed like the perfect way to help the bees and also connect with nature in a meaningful way right in the middle of the city.
That's awesome. So what was it like setting up your first hive in an urban environment?
Well, space is definitely a big consideration in the city. You're often working with rooftops, balconies, small community gardens.
Right. You don't have those sprawling fields like you see in the countryside.
Exactly. So you have to choose hive designs that are compact, space efficient.
Makes sense.
There are vertical hives, rooftop hives, even hives that are designed to be tucked away on a balcony.
Oh, that's cool.
We talked earlier about the importance of sourcing bees that are adapted to city life. Did you find that to be true in your experience?
Absolutely. The temperament of the bees is crucial in an urban setting. You want bees that are gentle, calm, not easily agitated.
Right. You don't want them swarming all over the neighborhood.
Exactly. I work with a local breeder who specializes in providing bees that are, well suited to the urban environment.
That's smart. So you got your bees, you got your hive set up. What was the reaction from your neighbors?
I think it's natural for people to be a little apprehensive at first, when they hear about bees moving in next door.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I made a real effort to talk to my neighbors, explain what I was doing, educate them about the importance of bees, the safety measures in place.
That's so important, that proactive communication.
Yeah, and over time, people became much more receptive. They would see the hives, watch the bees coming and going peacefully, and some of them even got to taste the honey.
Speaking of honey, how does the honey from your urban bees compare to, the honey you might find in a grocery store?
It's really unique. Urban honey reflects the diverse flora of the city.
What do you mean?
Well, the bees are foraging on all sorts of different plants. Linden blossoms from the street trees, clover from the parks, maybe even lavender from someone's rooftop garden.
So it's like a taste of the neighborhood.
Exactly. It's hyperlocal. It tells a story.
So you're not just supporting bees and the environment, you're also creating this unique food product.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the logistics, but let's be honest. How much work is it really to maintain an urban beehive?
It's definitely a commitment, but it's also incredibly rewarding. I probably spend, a couple of hours a week on hive inspections.
What does that involve?
Checking for signs of disease, making sure the queen is laying eggs, making sure they have enough space and resources.
So it's manageable, even for someone with a busy city life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's actually a great way to de-stress, connect with nature.
And learn something new every day.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to someone who's maybe thinking about trying urban beekeeping?
I'd say do your research, find a local beekeeping mentor or club, and don't be afraid to dive in.
That's great advice. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and insights with us. It's really inspiring to see how urban beekeeping can thrive, even in unexpected places.
And it really highlights that connection between people and nature, even in the middle of the city.
And on that note, I think we're going to wrap up our deep dive into urban beekeeping kits.
We've explored the environmental impact, the business potential, the hands-on realities. Hopefully, this has sparked your curiosity and maybe even inspired you to explore the world of urban beekeeping yourself.
Whether as a business venture or simply as a way to connect with nature in your own city. So until next time, stay curious, keep learning.
And remember, even in the concrete jungle, there's always room for a little buzz.
Thanks for joining us.